All right, hi everybody. I hope you guys are having a great day. This video shouldn't be too long, but I'm going to give you some instructions on something that I think is going to be very helpful, very a great resource for you for the remainder of the year and probably into the future. So we've covered a lot of identities, haven't we? And it's starting to get to the point where even in the videos you're seeing me looking down just to make sure that I get the identity right. And I want you guys to have a resource, a place that's very easy to look at to make sure that you're getting your identities correct as we move forward. So we're going to make an identity book. It's not going to be a huge book. All you're going to do is you're going to take a single piece of paper. You're going to fold it in half, okay, like this. So now, okay, right there, I can open it and take a look. It gives me 1, 2, 3, 4 pages that I can fill with identities. Now, I'd suggest taking something like printer paper, just because it's a little sturdier than notebook paper if you have it, but I totally understand not all of you are going to have it. So a piece of notebook paper will do just fine. And what you're going to do is you're going to start to put your identities into this. Why a book, right? Well, there's a lot of identities. We're only partway into it. This is a poster that I made last year that will show you all of the identities that we're going to be covering. So if you think there's a lot right now, there's more to come. So let's make sure that we know what we should be putting in our identity book. So identities that we have covered. Clearly we have the tangent identity. And what I would do on my book here is I would label the identity, I would underline it, and then I would write that identity underneath it, such as that. Okay. Let's see, so we got the tangent identity, and really that's one that we shouldn't have to put in our identity book, but we'll just try to be thorough. We have our reciprocal identities. By reciprocal identities, well, what are our reciprocals? Well, that would be secant of x, cosecant of x, cotangent of x. So I labeled reciprocal identities. I wrote secant, cosecant, cotangent underneath. I would fill in what those are. Then, of course, we have our Pythagorean identities, some of our favorite identities here. So Pythagorean identities, okay, you know what those are. We've got obviously sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1, but there's more than that. I'm not going to tell you them all right now because this is a good review kind of process. Now, there's 3 Pythagorean identities. You may, and I'll leave this up to you, you may want to put on the alternates. So for example, we know that cosine squared plus sine squared equals 1, but it has alternate identities such as cosine squared equals 1 minus sine squared and sine squared equals 1 minus cosine squared. Up to you if you want to write those down. Maybe you feel comfortable just mentally doing that. If you want to put them on there, that is allowed. Let's see what's next here. We have our sum or difference identities. Okay, we know what those are, so get those on. And then we wrapped up in our last video with cofunction identities. So start to fill this up. You'll probably be on to the second page with these identities so far. You don't have to write super small, but like I said, there's a lot more to do with this. Now, this identity book, okay, is going to be really useful. You're going to be able to keep this out as you are working on your practice. Depending on the quiz or the test, you may be able to use your identity book or not, and not just this quiz or test, but maybe in the future as well. I know during calculus, there are times where we say, hey, does anybody have their identity book? And then students get it out and we pull off an identity from that because they're useful to have. So I'd like you to go ahead and make this identity book. Keep it ready for future videos as we continue to go. I'll try to remind you when we write down new identities to put them in your book, but if I forget, that's something that you should be doing anyway. All right, thanks for watching. Enjoy your bookmaking.